The Aldrich Family, based on characters originated by Clifford Goldsmith and starring Ezra Stone as Hen-ree with Jackie Kelk as Homer.
Hen-ree Al-drich.
Coming, Mother.
Now for the Aldrich Family. Typical teenage boys are always too busy to sit down and remember way back when. Like Hen-ree Al-drich, they live only in the exciting here and now, with nothing to look back on and everything to look forward to. The scene opens in the Aldrich kitchen. It is morning.
Alice! Oh, Alice!
She's phoning Aunt Harriet, Father.
How long does it take to ask if she's got a burnt pot? Mary, be sure and use the fine side of the grater for those carrots.
I am, Father.
Now, what about the peppers and the
I'll
cabbage?
get to work on those next.
But, Mary, they go in first. Please start on them right away.
Before I finish the carrots?
Now, Mary, let's try to keep calm. Alice!
Dear, I'm coming as fast as I can.
What did Harriet say? Does she have one?
Sam, I knew I shouldn't have phoned her.
You mean she doesn't have a burnt pot?
No, dear, and she was very insulted that I should ask.
But, Alice, Pierre always used a burnt pot. And if he thought enough of me to send 4 genuine wild Canadian grouse, the least we can do is cook them in a burnt pot.
Sam, they'll turn out just as well if the pot's clean.
But-
And just because you're cooking the dinner is no reason for upsetting my kitchen like this. Just look at it.
This is a complicated recipe. If I'm going to be at it all day, I want things where I can put my hands right on them.
All day? Sam, I refuse.
Alice, you just wait. It'll be worth it. Mary, please hand me the onion.
Henry and Homer are still out on the back porch peeling them.
What? Mary, we have to start browning them right away.
But I'm right in the middle of my peppers and cabbage.
Now, Mary, let's take one thing at a time. Please tell the boys to hurry.
Yes, Father.
Alice, you know what we really need? A roaring fire of pine logs.
Sam Aldrich, you're not starting any fires in my kitchen.
Henry!
Homer, is that Mary?
I'm not sure, Henry. It certainly sounds like her.
My goodness, Homer, are you crying?
Mary, how would you look after 4 pounds of onions?
Father wants to know if you finished peeling them.
Homer, feel around and see how many are left.
There's 4, 6, 7. Gee whiz, Henry, here's a funny one.
Homer, let's go with my toe.
Oh, I thought it was kind of lumpy for an onion.
I'll take in the peel ones while you finish what's left. And hurry, Father's ready to start Pierre's bird.
Henry, who is this Pierre?
Well, you know that moose head in my father's study?
Yeah.
That's Pierre.
What?
Well, that is, he was my father's guide when he bagged him.
When he what?
Bagged him, Homer, bagged him. He sends us something every year. Last year, he sent my mother a muskrat skin.
No kidding.
She's going to have it made into a coat as soon as she gets a few more.
Boy, and this year he sent your father 4... Henry, what would you call more than one grouse?
Grouses?
Or is it Grice?
Gee, either one sounds right. Didn't I tell you my father's using Pierre's own special recipe to cook them?
He is. Boy, I can hardly wait to taste them.
You? But Homer...
That's one reason I love eating at your house, Hen. You never know what's going to show up on the table.
Well, look, Homer.
That's why I didn't mind getting here at 7:30 this morning to help out.
Sure, and we appreciate it, Homer.
And your father sure is a card. The way he's always joking about my showing up at meal times.
Homer, I think you'd better excuse me for a minute.
What's the matter?
Well, there's a certain conference I'd better have with my mother.
Okay. And Henry, ask her if there's anything I can do after I finish her onions.
Mother?
Haven't you finished those onions yet?
Why, not exactly, Father.
Now, Sammy's doing the best he can.
Well, please hurry. Mary, you're not chopping those peppers too fine, are you?
Mother, I've got good news for you.
You have?
Yeah, Homer can make it for dinner tonight.
What?
I didn't even have to talk him into it.
Dear, you mean you invited him?
Well, not exactly. But don't you agree we should, considering that he's been crying his eyes out for us all morning?
Henry, I like Homer. I like him very much. There's something about him that warms your heart. But he's got to learn to wait until he's invited.
But what can I say to him?
Just tell him he can't come tonight under any conditions. But be tactful. Don't make him feel we don't want him.
Sure, Mother. I'll do my best.
My goodness, Sam, your potatoes are burning.
I know, Alice. They're supposed to.
Homer, old-timer.
Look, Hen, I finished the onions.
That's swell, Homer. Only, look, I just had a little talk with my mother, see?
About me?
Why, yeah, you happened to come up. And, Homer, you know what she said about you?
What?
You warm her heart.
I do?
And look, Homer, would it make you feel any better if my father took us to the movies tonight?
On top of dinner?
What? Well, Homer...
Boy, what a swell family.
Homer, you're not letting me...
And have I been a heel? Here I've been warming your family's hearts all these years, and what have I done in return? Nothing.
Homer, I didn't mean that.
You know what I'm going to do? I've got a present at home they'd love.
Homer, wait. Let me finish.
Henry, if I warm their hearts, monogram matches are the least I can give them.
But, Mother, look, monogram matches. You see how Homer feels about us?
Henry, they're not even our monograms.
Don't you agree it's the sentiment that counts? So couldn't we forbid Homer to come the next time he's not invited?
Henry, I told you to tell him not to come this time.
But, Mother, you should have seen his eyes when I talked to him. They were sort of all watery.
That was onions.
But, Mother...
Dear, I'm sorry, but we'll just have to put our foot down on Homer.
What?
Your father's already spoken to me several times about his coming to dinner without being invited.
You mean if it's all right with Father, it's all right with you?
Mrs. Aldrich.
He's coming. Yes, Homer?
Would you mind explaining how the bag on your vacuum cleaner comes off?
Homer, what's happened?
Oh, nothing. I thought I'd help out and sort of give that easy chair in the corner the once-over, see?
Yes?
Well, you know that doily that was on the back of it?
Homer, that was genuine Belgian lace.
Mrs. Aldrich, I know exactly where it is. I'll get it out.
Before you do, Homer, Henry has something to say to you. Haven't you, Henry?
Sure, Mother. As soon as I speak to Father. Father!
Henry, it won't do you a bit of good.
Father, are you in the kitchen?
Yes, Henry. And just look at those grouse lying there in the pot. Have you ever seen such beauties?
I'll say. And, Father...
I'll admit there's not much to them after you take the feathers off, but at least there'll be enough for the four of us.
Just the four of us? I mean... Well, gee, now that I really look at them, there's enough for an army.
An army?
Sure.
Henry, Homer is not coming to dinner tonight. Not under any circumstances.
But, Father, suppose we stuff him with bread and butter first. How much grouse can he eat?
Henry, you will please tell Homer you're sorry, but tonight is out.
But you...
No buts. Mary, could I have the peas, please?
The peas, Father? Was I supposed to take care of them, too?
You mean you haven't even started shelling them?
I was busy cracking the walnuts.
Mary, you should learn to take one thing at a time. Now then, let's see. Where does your mother keep the fennel seed?
The what?
What?
Fennel seed, Mary. Fennel seed. It's an herb. Pierre's grouse wouldn't taste like anything without it.
My goodness, Father, we don't have anything like that.
We don't? No fennel seed? That's a fine thing.
Wouldn't pepper do just as well?
No, it would not. I'll have to go right out and get some. And while I'm gone, Mary, be sure and baste the grouse every 3 minutes.
But what about the peas and the walnuts?
Now, Mary, let's not get excited.
But my goodness.
That's the trouble with the way women cook. No organization. Mary, please start basting.
But, Father, was that final about...
Henry, please, step aside.
Look, Mary.
And could you brush the hair out of my eyes?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Mary, what can I do about Homer?
Henry, you've just got to learn to look him square in the eye and say, "See here, Homer Brown."
Mary, I can't say a thing like that to my best friend.
Why not? It's easy. Here, grab this spoon.
What for?
And start basting. I'll show you how to get rid of Homer. Homer!
Mary, why are you rolling up your sleeve?
Homer, where are you?
In the living room, Mary.
Now, see here, Homer Brown. Homer, what are you doing with that picture album?
Why, your mother took me off vacuum cleaning and put me on dusting books. And, Mary, who's this?
Let me see. My goodness, that's me when I was just 4. Don't I look silly?
Silly? Gee, I've never seen a cuter little tyke.
Cuter what?
Tyke, Mary, tyke. Kid.
Oh.
Gee, you're the cutest 4-year-old I've ever seen.
I am?
Gee, sure.
Oh.
Oh, was there something you wanted to say to me?
Why, and now see here, Homer.
Yes, Mary.
Homer, I know you're expecting to come to dinner tonight, and And,
Yes.
well, how would you feel if I were to invite you to come over next Tuesday?
Oh, boy. Gee, Mary, I never imagined you felt this way about me.
Homer, I like you terribly.
You do?
Terribly.
Boy, if they told me, gee, imagine being invited to dinner here twice in the same week.
What?
Oh, will there be anybody here Tuesday but just the two of us, Mary?
Now, see here, Homer.
Well, even if there is, we could take a walk afterwards, couldn't we?
Homer, stay on your side of the table.
But Mary...
Homer, keep away.
Mary.
Henry!
Mary.
Mother!
Oh, excuse me, miss.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
Please. You see, I've been to several stores and none of them seem to carry it, and I thought you might have it here at the Emporium.
Have what, sir?
Fennel.
Oh, yes, sir. Fourth floor, last aisle on your right.
Oh, fine. Fourth floor?
Yes, sir, in hardware. Just ask anyone for funnels.
No. Fennel. Fennel seed.
Fennel seed?
Yes.
Are you sure you don't mean kennel feed?
I beg your pardon?
You'll find that at the pet shop on the second floor, right next to sporting goods.
I don't want kennel seed. I want fennel seed. I want fennel seed.
I see. Mr. McIntosh. Oh, Mr. McIntosh.
In a moment, Miss Brindley.
Mr. McIntosh is our floor walker. Perhaps he can help you.
Good.
Yes, Miss Brindley.
Mr. McIntosh, this gentleman would like some, what is that again, sir?
Fennel seed.
Seed? Oh, yes. Garden appliances. 2 aisles over.
What?
Although I must confess I've never heard of fennels. What time of the year do they come up?
Mr. McIntosh, fennel seed is not a seed. That is, it's a seed, but it isn't a seed that comes up.
It comes in jars. Jars?
Yes.
Oh, now I understand. Do you want wide-mouthed jars or narrow-mouthed jars?
What's that?
For storing seed, I imagine the narrow ones would be more practical.
Now, just a moment. I don't want to buy any jars. I don't want to buy funnels. And I don't want to buy kennel feed. I want fennel seed. Fennel seed. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Suppose I turn you over to our section manager.
But,
Mr. Hildebrand, could you step this way for a moment?
Mary, I must say I'm a little surprised at you.
Surprised at me, Mother. What about Homer? I was nothing but an innocent victim.
Mother, suppose we do this tonight. Suppose I split my grouse with Homer.
Split it?
Sure, I wouldn't mind doing without my drumsticks.
Now, just a moment, dear. I don't want you to think I'm being stubborn. But if neither of my children has the courage to get rid of Homer in a nice, polite way, then I guess I'll have to.
You, Mother?
The time has come to be direct. Homer!
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
What's wrong?
If you're here, Henry, and I'm here, who's basting?
Homer?
Mrs. Aldrich, I finished dusting the books. Is there something else I can do?
No, dear. Sit down, please. There's something I want to say to you.
Sure, Mrs. Aldrich.
Homer.
Yes, Mrs. Aldrich.
Homer, I'm going to tell you a little story.
You are?
Yes, dear. And I hope you get the point.
Oh, I will, Mrs. Aldrich. I'm usually pretty good at stories.
Good. Now, this is a story about a nice boy. And this nice boy could be anyone. He could be you, he could be Willie Marshall, or anybody.
He could? Willie Marshall?
Yes, dear. Now, we all like this boy. We like him very much. And we'd like very much to have him to dinner. It's just a question of his being invited. You see what I mean, Homer?
Gee, sure.
You do? Well, my goodness.
Do you mind if I use the phone?
Of course not. And I do hope this boy understands that we really like him very much.
Gee, I hope so. And you sure have a big heart, Mrs. Aldrich.
Thank you, Homer.
Operator, give me L997. Thank you.
Homer, dear?
Yes, Mrs. Aldrich?
When you're through on the phone, why not come out here in the kitchen and have a piece of cake?
Gee, thanks. Hello, Willie Marshall? Willie, this is Homer. I've got good news for you. You're invited to dinner tonight at the Aldrich.
And now getting back to the troubles of Hen-ree Al-drich. Homer has invited himself to Mr. Aldrich's special dinner of Canadian grouse a la Pierre. So far, the efforts of Henry and his family to get rid of him have met with phenomenal failure. The scene opens in the Aldrich hallway. It's later that afternoon.
Hello, is that you, Henry?
No, Alice, this is Sam. Has Mary put the walnuts in the grouse yet?
I think so.
Fine.
And Sam, I'm glad you called. I've been wanting to talk to you. Where are you?
In the president's office.
The president?
Of the Emporium.
What are you doing there?
Having tea. Meanwhile, the president is trying to get in touch with a company that might carry fennel seed.
What seed?
Alice, I might want to start that with you. What do you want to talk to me about?
It's Henry. He's disappeared.
What?
Without doing a thing about Homer.
That's a fine thing. Why can't Mary tell him to go home?
Dear, she refuses point blank to speak to him.
Very well, Alice, then there's just one thing to do. You'll have to be firm with Homer yourself.
I?
Yes.
But, Sam, I've already... Dear, have you ever noticed his eyes?
What about them?
They look at you.
Alice, we can't have Homer for dinner, and that's final. There simply aren't enough grouse to go around.
I know, dear, and I've thought of that. Why don't I throw in some spaghetti?
Spaghetti? With my wild grouse?
It would be filling.
Alice, we couldn't. What would Pierre say?
Does he have to know? And Mary's gone over to tell Willie Marshall not to come, so at least we won't have him on our hands.
Willie Marshall? How did he get included?
Why, Homer invited him.
What?
Now, dear, control yourself. Sam? Sam, have you hung up?
No, Alice. I haven't hung up.
Are you angry?
Why should I be angry? I don't mind Homer's coming to dinner and eating my grouse. That's something I could get over, eventually. But why no one in my own family can do a simple thing like telling the boy he hasn't been invited is something I cannot understand.
But, dear...
All right, Alice. If no one else is capable, I'll just have to handle the matter myself.
You mean you'll tell Homer?
Yes.
Good, I'll put him on.
No, Alice, right now I have to track down some fennel seed.
Some what?
Never mind. And don't worry, I'll take care of Homer in my own way. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mrs. Aldrich, I finished chopping the wood. Is there anything else you'd like me to do?
No, dear, and Homer...
Gee, I can't just stand around with idle hands. Why don't I give the windows upstairs a going over?
Homer, I really don't feel you should do any more.
Gee, I don't mind. That's the least I can do for a couple of grouses.
Goodness, Henry, this is a surprise. Come in.
Thanks, Agnes. Gee, is that dinner I smell cooking?
Sure.
Agnes, your mother always makes plenty, doesn't she? I mean, that is, there's always room for one more, isn't there?
Sure, why?
No reason. Did I mention I saw you in gym yesterday?
You did.
I did.
You didn't. Henry, I look terrible in those awful gym bloomers.
Gee, you look pretty good to me.
I did? Hey, sit down, Henry, old kid. Have a candy cherry.
Well, I haven't time. And the reason I came... You know, I always felt if there was one person you could count on when you had a problem was good old Agnes.
You got a problem?
Well, you see, my father's cooking a special dinner tonight.
Your father? Dinner?
Sure.
And you have to eat it?
Sure.
Boy, you have got a problem.
Yeah, so I was wondering...
Don't say another word, Henry. I'd be glad to.
Glad to what?
Naturally, I'll have to ask my mother first. Mother, where are you?
Agnes, wait, I haven't explained about Homer.
Hello there, Sam.
Well, I hope you don't mind my dropping in your office like this, Phil.
Not at all. Homer tells me he's having dinner at your house tonight.
Yes.
Good.
Well, the reason I came over...
Before you go into that, Sam, there's something I have to take care of in the outer office.
Oh?
Make yourself comfortable.
Oh, do you mind if I use your phone?
Go ahead, Sam.
Number, please.
Abbott City, 2200.
Abbott City, 2200.
Please. Will, it's a long-distance call.
That's okay, Sam. Merry Christmas.
Why, thanks. Same to you.
Hello? Abbott City Grocery Supply Company.
Oh, how do you do? The Emporium in Centerville suggested that I phone you. I'm on the trail of some fennel seed.
I beg your pardon.
Fennel seed? Look, it's sort of an herb, you see.
Oh, yes, sir. Hold on, please.
What's that? Now, wait a minute. I haven't finished. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, who is this?
This is Herb.
Who?
Herb, did you ask for me?
Look, I'm trying to put my hand on some fennel seed. Fennel. Fennel.
Oh, fennel seed. Now I get you.
You mean you have some?
Oh, yes, sir. Syrian or Arabian?
What's the difference?
Well, one's from Syria and the other's from Arabia.
Oh, well, either one will be fine. Could you wrap some up for me? I'll get into my car and drive right over.
Well, yes, sir. What quantity?
Oh, about 25 cents worth should be enough.
25 cents? I'm afraid you don't understand, mister. This is a wholesale establishment.
Yes, I know.
Some of the orders we place run as high as $10,000.
Yes, I know.
Well, very well, mister. How much do you want to order?
Never mind now. We'll decide that when I get there. Goodbye.
Okay, Sam, what's on your mind?
Why, it's about Homer coming to dinner tonight.
Sam, I want you to know how grateful we are.
Grateful?
Yes. If you hadn't taken Homer off our hands, Elizabeth and I wouldn't have been able to accept the Fergusons' invitation to their barbecue tonight.
But Will, that's just it.
What is?
I'm afraid we can't have Homer tonight.
You can't?
I'm afraid not.
You mean you're having other company?
No.
Alice sick?
No.
Well, what is it then, Sam?
Well, you see...
yes, I do see. Why don't you like Homer?
Mother, how much longer do these grouse have to cook?
I really don't know, Mary. And must you baste with two hands?
Mother, I simply don't have the strength to do it one-handed.
Fear it isn't ladylike.
Where do you suppose Henry is, and what are we going to do about Homer?
Mary, I refuse to even think about it. This whole thing is giving me a splitting headache.
Hello!
Thank goodness. In the kitchen, Sam.
I'm sorry I'm late. How's the grouse?
Fine, Father.
Sam, what's that under your arm?
Why, fennel seed, Alice. It's an herb to put on the grouse.
Sam, a whole keg?
Well, I got it wholesale, Alice. It was dirt cheap.
Sam, it'll take us years to use it up.
Alice, a thing like fennel seed gets used up in no time. Now stand back while I sprinkle some on the ground.
Yes, sir.
There.
Father, you hardly dropped in 3 grains.
Mary, all it needs is a pinch.
But how are we ever going to use up a whole keg if you go fooling around with pinches?
Just smell that grouse. Yes, sir, there's nothing that tastes better than a meal you cooked yourself.
What? Now, Mary?
Father, does this mean the grouse are done?
Yes, Mary.
No more vegetables to peel, no more walnuts to crunch,
No.
no bacon.
No, it's finished.
Thank goodness.
Where are you going?
Up to my room and collapse.
But, Mary, it's time to eat them.
Father, I never want to look at another grouse as long as I live.
Mrs. Aldrich,
Yes, Homer?
if you're thinking of calling me into dinner, I'm in the dining room, polishing the silver.
Sam, what are you going to do about Homer?
I'm going to get rid of him. If Will Brown thinks he's going to eat barbecue at the Fergusons while we're having his son, he's got another thing coming.
But, Sam...
Alice, I have as much right to enjoy my dinner as Will has.
Mrs. Aldrich, did you know the phone's ringing?
Yes, dear.
And as soon as I answer it, Homer, I want to have a little talk with you.
Sam, I think I'll join Mary.
But dinner's ready.
I'm afraid this headache has ruined my appetite. I'll take the grouse into the dining room, then I'm going upstairs and lie down.
You mean Henry and I will have to split the grouse between us? Hello?
Hello, Father.
Henry, where are you?
At Agnes's.
Henry, I've got good news for you. You and I are having 2 grouse apiece.
We are?
Yes, so come on home.
But that's the whole thing, Father. I think I'm having dinner over here.
What? Why?
I think I talk too much.
But, Henry, what about my wild grouse?
Don't remind me, Father. We're having baked macaroni over here. Goodbye.
But, well...
Mr. Aldrich, I'm still in the dining room if you want to speak to me.
What? Oh, yes.
Is there something wrong, Mr. Aldrich?
Sit down, Homer.
Sit down. Yes, sir.
About dinner tonight.
Yes.
About... Homer, I've got good news for you. We're having 2 grouse apiece.
We are?
We'll have the time of our lives, just the 2 of us.
Gee, I never imagined you felt that way toward me, too, Mr. Aldrich.
What way?
Do I warm your heart?
I wouldn't go that far. Well, Homer, suppose we eat. Just look at those grouse, Homer.
Oh, gee whiz, are those grouse?
Of course.
But they look just like chicken.
What?
And, Mr. Aldrich, I don't like chicken. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going home.
Now, just a minute. Homer, you sit down and eat.
Listen again next week, same time, same station, for another sparkling half hour with your favorite youngster, his family, and his pals. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith.